Hello, and in this IELTS Part 2 speaking video, I'm going to look at the topic, describe a water sport you would like to try in the future. You should say what it is, where you would like to try it, how difficult it is, and explain why you would like to try it. To be perfectly honest, I am not someone who is totally comfortable in water. I can swim, and I would say I'm a proficient swimmer, but it's not something I particularly enjoy. Having said that though, there is something that I've always been fascinated by, and that is scuba diving. This is where you dive underwater with breathing apparatus, so you are able to stay underwater for a long time because you have an oxygen supply. As well as the scuba equipment, you need a wetsuit to keep you warm. One of the major reasons why I am attracted to doing this is that some of the places where you can do this are stunningly beautiful. For example, in Australia, if you are visiting the Gold Coast, you can scuba dive at the Great Barrier Reef. I have seen photos and videos of it, and the colours of the flora, fauna and the marine animals that live there are so vivid, and I hope to see it with my own eyes at least once in my lifetime. At certain times of the year, you can see dolphins and whales, and one of the things on my bucket list is to swim with dolphins. If I was swimming underwater with dolphins, I imagine it would be one of the greatest and most memorable experiences of my life. Sadly, this is not something that is going to be easy to do, as it costs a fortune to go to Australia, so I need to save up. Ideally, I would like to do it in the near future, but I might need a lottery win in order to pay for it. I imagine that as soon as I am underwater, my aquaphobia will disappear. Actually, I'm not aquaphobic, I just don't like getting wet, but I would definitely be prepared to get wet if I was scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. So let's take a look at some of the language in this topic. You could also use this for describe an activity you would like to do outside, or describe a sport you would like to do outside, because it fits into that topic as well. So like I do in many videos, I start with to be perfectly honest. So when you're saying something and you want to say it honestly, truthfully, to be perfectly honest. I am not someone who is totally comfortable in water. Some people love water, some people don't like water. So you can say I am comfortable in water, I'm totally comfortable in water, or you're not totally comfortable in water. However, I am saying I'm a proficient swimmer. And if you're proficient at something, you're good at it, you're skilled at it. So even though I'm a good swimmer, I don't particularly like it. Having said that though, very useful little phrase when you've said something and then you want to say but. This just makes it much more complex. Having said that though, I've always been fascinated by, I've always liked. Scuba diving. Scuba, we get the word from self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. If you can remember that, then absolutely say it during the test. I would like to do scuba diving. Scuba means self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Apparatus is another word for equipment. Underwater, so you do it underwater, and you need the breathing apparatus. This is the mask and the gas tank to enable you to breathe. And you have an oxygen supply coming from the gas tank. And what you need to wear is a wetsuit. So this is the wetsuit that the person is wearing. One of the major reasons why, remember to collocate reasons with main or major, why I'm attracted to doing this, why I want to do this. Stunningly beautiful. Never just use an adjective. See if you can use something a bit more complex. Stunningly beautiful is a good collocation that we use. If you are visiting, I'm just trying to get a range of grammar in there, and IELTS examiners like continuous tenses. Flora and fauna. We say flora and fauna. Flora's the plants and fauna's the animals. So this is flora and the animals are fauna. But I've also said marine animals just to get some more vocabulary in there. Marine animals are animals that live in the sea. And they are vivid. They're bright colours. These are very vivid colours. And I hope to see it with my own eyes. That means to see it for real. So I'm choosing to talk about dolphins and whales just because I want to get in as much vocabulary as possible. So if you get this topic in your 1 minute preparation time, just try and write down as many words connected with the sea as you can think of. Flora, fauna, marine animals, dolphins, whales, and try to get them into your answer. Bucket list. I talk about this in another video. This is a bucket list. It's a list of things you want to do before you die. So things like swimming with dolphins. Really useful little phrase, because if you're talking about a place you'd like to visit, you can say, it is on my bucket list. And here I've tried to get some past continuous. If I was swimming underwater with dolphins, I imagine it would be memorable. So I'm putting myself in that situation and thinking, how would I feel? It would be memorable, so I would remember it for a long time. It costs a fortune. It costs a lot of money. Now, there are two ways of saying it. You can say it costs a fortune. It costs an arm and a leg. Arm and a leg is very informal. Don't use it in writing. You could use cost a fortune in IELTS writing. But it's fantastic for speaking, and so instead of saying it costs a lot, it costs a fortune. It costs an arm and a leg. Ideally, so I'm saying in a perfect situation would be, the ideal situation would be that I would like to do it in the near future, because the question asks, when would you like to do it? In the near future. Very useful for IELTS writing as well, and it means soon. I imagine, I guess, I reckon, I think. Aquaphobia. Now I've just put this in because I want to really impress the IELTS examiner with my vocabulary. Aquaphobia is a fear of water, so it's perfect for this topic. So phobia means fear, aqua means water, so aquaphobia. And then what I've done is use the adjective aquaphobic, because IELTS examiners like candidates who can show flexibility in their use of language. And that means that you don't just know one word, you know the adjective, you know the adverb, you know the verb. So aquaphobia, fear of water. Aquaphobic, I have a fear of water. But I'm saying I'm not aquaphobic, I just don't like getting wet, and I would definitely be prepared to. This just means I would, but we're making it a little bit more complex. I would be prepared to. I would definitely be prepared to. So I think this is a great topic because it gives you the opportunity to use lots of vocabulary such as flora, fauna, marine animals, dolphins, whales, scuba diving, wetsuit, gas tank, which I didn't use in the answer, but you can use that, oxygen supply, bucket list, and you can use the range of grammatical phrases. If I was swimming underwater, I imagine it would be. So one of my favourite topics, this one, so really hope you get this one because it's a fantastic one to answer. Let's take a look now at one part 3 question connected to this topic. So they may ask you, why do you think people like to go to places near water? I guess there are several explanations for this. Firstly, there is something very soothing about water. Being near it has a calming effect on you. And secondly, it is generally picturesque when there is a lake, stream, the sea, whatever, and it makes you feel more relaxed because you feel like you are on holiday. Being near water can help to recharge your batteries. So, good way to answer a question in part 3. I guess there are several explanations for this. I guess there are several reasons for this. And then you give your 2 reasons. The best answers have at least 2 reasons because otherwise they're too short. So firstly, it's very soothing. Soothing means calming. And so I've said soothing, it has a calming effect. It relaxes you, it calms you down. And then secondly, it's picturesque. Picturesque means it's as pretty as a picture. It's beautiful, just like the picture there. When there's a lake, stream, the sea, whatever. When you're doing a list in speaking and then you can't think of anything else, you can just put whatever on the end. And it's like saying, and so on. And it makes you feel relaxed, and being near water can help to recharge your batteries. This is a fantastic idiomatic phrase, but you can use it in IELTS writing as well if you're on the topic of health or sport. To recharge your batteries is just like a phone. When you charge your battery, you're giving it life. So when you do something such as go to a place near water, do some sport, it's recharging your batteries. It's giving you some energy. It's making you feel better about things. So a really useful little phrase. You can use it in lots of topics. So if you're talking about an activity you like doing, if you're talking about going to the cinema, even if you were talking about watching quiz shows. I love watching quiz shows because I can just relax and not have to think about very much, and it helps me to recharge my batteries. So a really useful phrase. Hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.